We've been charting Trump's reaction step by step since the FBI raid. Now, he began with indignation and then denial and then conspiracy theorizing and then bluffing about wanting the warrant to be released and then pretending that once it wasn't a big deal. And then there was some more indignation, but eventually he got around to one of his favorite states, which is threats. Veiled for now, which is nice. We'll see what we have by tomorrow, but he apparently sent a message through an intermediary to Merrick Garland saying, the country is on fire. What can I do to reduce the heat? And by the way, he also did an interview this morning with Fox Digital where he said, I want to do anything to reduce the heat, but terrible things might happen. There's a lot of anger out there, a lot of anger. Maybe I can do something. Now you'll notice that in that statement, in his interview, he didn't do anything to reduce the heat. He just acknowledged that people are angry, which we don't need him to acknowledge. We know that a guy already attacked the FBI in Cincinnati, so that's cool. And repeatedly said that they're right to be angry, that this is a hoax and a setup and a witch hunt. It was a stealth attack, sneak attack on Mar-a-Lago. So there's rage and they should be enraged. Maybe there's something I can do, maybe to turn down the heat a little bit, he said to Merrick Garland, and now he's putting it out there openly. That to me, Francesca, seems like a threat, that he acknowledges that we are on the precipice of lethal violence and he could do something. Maybe if they give him something. I don't know. What do you think?
He loves it. He loves it just like he loved January 6th. He wants to sit back and watch people attack the FBI and DHS or DOJ or whomever. It doesn't matter. Like tear it all down. Like this is like the next step of January 6th. The real question remains, what the hell was stolen? And did he know that he wasn't allowed to take that stuff? I'm pretty sure he did. And how all of his lies are not stacking up. The like, once I take it from the White House, it automatically becomes declassified was one of the lines. Like, no, buddy, that's not how anything works. And you don't have executive privilege anymore. Which is part of the reason why we can even charge this guy in the first place, right? It's like the Espionage Act has been reserved for civilians. And honestly, civilians who've actually tried to blow the whistle on really important matters like NSA spying, right? This is not that. This is completely not that. But it is a civilian being charged with taking classified documents for not the country's benefit, but of course, probably for his own and his family's benefit.
Yeah, and speaking about benefit, of course, Rand Paul over the weekend was like, well, we should get rid of the Espionage Act. And I think that's a great debate, I think, for our country to have, because as Francesca has pointed out, it generally is used for people other than the president. I think that is a great debate to have. But right now it is the law. And so if Trump violated it, well, that's the law. And he increased the penalties while he was president, he was perfectly fine to have it out there. And if this was a regular person, if this was a reality winner or something, I have a feeling neither Rand Paul or Donald Trump would be shedding many tears. So anyway, I'm not the only person who thinks that this is a threat. Research director for Crew, Robert McGuire, tweeted just a normal former president hinting to the current Attorney General of the United States, who was about to make an announcement about the investigation of the former president, that he can fan the flames of violence before asking, what can I do to reduce the heat? Now, he really wants to make sure that you know how much anger is out there and the direct control that he has over Donald Trump. So he truthed earlier, just left a large gathering of people and all they could talk about was the complete and total stranglehold that the radical left Democrats have over the DOJ and FBI. It shouldn't be that way. Nobody goes after BLM, Antifa, or the rest, despite murder, beatings, and burning down large sections of cities. A very unfair double standard. They definitely won't attack the home of a former Democrat president, nor should they. It is also out of control, great simmering anger. So first of all, yes, if people in those groups commit murder, they are and should be investigated for that. It's an absolute insane conspiracy.
Wait. Let them off though. On that point, BLM was like has been infiltrated by the FBI. Like you remember Occupy? Also another left movement infiltrated by the FBI. We don't even know.
How many of them are presidents?
Yeah, honestly.
What do I care?
The biggest problem they had was just like nobody was a president in the crowd.
They should have gotten.
Is anyone here a president?
Anyone maybe interned a bit as a president? Any work experience as a president? No. So anyway, I don't even know if that's true. I don't even know if he was in a large gathering, but he wants you to believe that he has been going and talking to and absorbing the great simmering anger, the very large dumps of anger. And also he has control over it. He's telling them it's a stranglehold. He's telling them that they're persecuting Republicans. There's no evidence of that, but he's saying it. And all of this, again, is not just the prelude to violence. We've already had the violence in the immediate aftermath of these attacks. They are not condemning it. Donald Trump is not telling them that attacks against the FBI are illegitimate. It's all very vague, very speculative, and very quid pro quo. Let's be clear about that. He wants them to announce that they didn't do anything wrong, they're not gonna be investigating him, and then maybe he'll tell them to back off. That is it's not even fair to call it subtext in this. This is the text of what he's put out. And anyway, you should also know that it wasn't just in Cincinnati. A law enforcement source told CNN that the FBI is investigating an unprecedented number of threats against personnel following the Mar-a-Lago raid. Now look, I think in general, take with a major grain of salt any law enforcement sources telling the media about how big victims they are, but it's not difficult to imagine that this is true. And we know that one has already been acted out on. By the way, Ken Klippenstein, American hero, he put out what he got, this leaked document. The FBI and DHS issued a joint intelligence bulletin warning of the potential for domestic violent extremists to carry out attacks in reaction to the FBI's recent execution of that warranted search. So yeah, like we're cruising into this week just wondering what's gonna happen. Is there gonna be another attack, another shooting, perhaps a bombing? Which of these MAGA people is going to do what they've been goaded hour after hour to do?
Yeah, and like interestingly, it feels like we're already moving on from the Cincinnati attack, right? Like, yeah, he had a nail gun, he also had an AR-15, and then he was killed. So is he a martyr now? Does he join the ranks of Ashley Babbitt, another radicalized follower who met the consequences for her actions, right? Like, as tragic and awful as that is, the tragedy isn't that they met the consequences. The tragedy is that their brains got slowly poisoned and turned to mush by this cultish movement that tells them they have to take up arms and storm the Capitol or the FBI, and that was going to be a legitimate thing to do at all, right? That's the real tragedy. When the amount of blood on their hands of their own people, y'all, right? Like, remember how Tucker Carlson was like outing just randos who were at the Capitol and was blaming them? I mean, like, how many low-level people have to die before we all understand this is a cult that doesn't care whether their followers live or die?
Yeah. If you're a crazy gun-wielding conservative out there, be very careful in your quest to become a martyr. So there's a chance that you might be Ashley Babbitt or whatever, that you might be considered a martyr. You died for the political benefits of the guy from Home Alone 2. But there's a much greater chance that they're just going to deny that you're a Trump fan. In fact, they're gonna call you Antifa. So just enjoy that. That is how you will be remembered as part of Antifa. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.